Tēnā tātou katoa, no mai rā, good evening. 1 week into the campaign and Labour is tanking in our latest Newshub-Reid research poll, plunging to a result not seen since Andrew Little was the leader.
It means National and ACT are on track to comfortably form a government. Political editor Jenna Lynch joins us now with numbers. Kia ora, Jenna. So is time running out for Labour to turn this around?
Yep, break the glass, hit the panic button, Labour. This is your crisis poll. Labour has collapsed to the terrifying 20s, 26.8%, a catastrophic 5.5-point fall. On the other side, Nationals sound the celebration siren, 40.9, up 4.3. The Greens are gathering steam, 12.3, up 2.7, while ACT's conga line of conspiracy candidates quitting have knocked it down to 10.1, down 2. New Zealand First is still flirting with the 5% threshold, 4.6, so close to a comeback. Te Pāti Māori, 3.1%, the others nowhere near what is needed. Count the seats and the whitewash becomes clearer. The race is won at 61, Nationals 53 and ACT's 13, gets them there with some to spare, 66 seats, while Red and Green are looking lean. Labour's 34 and the Greens 16, only 50. Add Te Pāti Māori's 4, assuming they get an electorate, 54, more than 10 seats behind. They're in the dust. The gulf is widening. Labour is losing it. It's begun a death spiral, and there's more heartbreak for Hipkins. Personally, he's no longer the most popular choice for Prime Minister. If ever there was a day he needed the sun to shine. But alas, even in sunny Nelson, the gloom rolled in and it was contagious. Half-heartedly waving his banner about, Chippy didn't even want to chant. Down but trying so hard not to be out.
It's been raining today, that always makes life a little bit more challenging.
Projecting optimism but rolling out the poll loser line.
A poll is a poll. There's only one poll that matters, and that's the poll that everyone takes part in on election day.
Cherishing the little things.
There's Chippy.
As the big cold reality beds in, he could lose.
I'm not really thinking at all about a plan B. I think we've still got 5 weeks of campaigning to go, and I'm going to get out there and give it my all.
If his party numbers didn't pop his balloon, here's more hurt for Hipkins. Luxon has scooped up some support in the PM popularity stakes. The Chris's are even Stevens, 22.5% a pop in preferred Prime Minister. Luxon climbing a mighty 6.6, while Hipkins slumped 1.5. Among the other contenders, Seymour's losing his shine, 7%, down 3.9. Winston Peters and Chloe Swarbrick get honourable mentions. Losing the popularity lead over Luxon, Chris Hipkins is cruising for a bruising.
Have you got an ace to play?
You just have to wait and see.
Luxon allowing himself the littlest grin.
It's a bit more than all good though, isn't it?
Well,
Not quite doing victory laps yet. Nat's leader is definitely live, laugh, Luxoning.
No, I love it. I'm bouncing out of bed at 4:30 each morning.
Still chowing down humble pie and attempting to keep himself grounded.
Oh, I don't take anything for granted. I'm going to continue to work hard right up until election night.
Because it's easy to drop your guard and get ahead of yourself.
We want to solve our challenges and we've got to get things done for the New Zealand people now. That's the job of a new national-led government.
Talk like that makes it seem he's already planning the furniture layout of the beehive.
Winston Peters and David Seymour would run circles around Christopher Luxon. It would be a recipe for instability that could only be bad for New Zealand.
are you resigned to defeat?
Absolutely not. We're in this to win it.
Opening up on his future plans, win or lose.
Do you commit to serving out the whole term through to the next election?
If I win the election, yes, absolutely.
If you don't?
That's a question you can ask me the day after the election.
Forced to fake a smile because the tooth hurts.
Gosh, some really big changes there, Jenna. How bad is this for Labour?
The troubling thing about this poll for Labour is that it captures their big bang policies. Hipkins has been fending off questions about his leadership, saying other polls have not reflected his big campaign launch, his free dental pledge, GST-free fruit and veg, but this poll does. The party's best efforts are not turning heads. He is crashing with his best foot forward. His likeability over Luxon was his best hope for holding on to power. That is now slipping from his grip, and save an absolute campaign miracle, Hipkins is now heading for a hiding.
More from Jenna in just a moment. Meanwhile, Christopher Luxon is still leaving a pathway to power for Winston Peters, despite nearly half the country wanting him to rule the NZ First leader out.
That's despite Peters stating that Māori aren't the Indigenous people of New Zealand and describing Te Pāti Māori co-leader Rawiri Waititi's facial moko as scribbles. Political reporter Amelia Wade has more.
Christopher Luxon wooing these lovely seniors.
And Nicola will be our finance minister.
But there is another senior which is causing Luxon headaches. Winston Peters has found a new dog whistle claiming Māori aren't Indigenous to New Zealand.
Māori, in their anthropological statement about themselves and their whakapapa back to Hawaii. That's where they were Indigenous to. Can't be Indigenous to two places.
Māori are Indigenous to New Zealand. That's pretty simple for me.
Peters is now also making fun of Te Pāti Māori co-leader Rawiri Waititi's tāmoko.
And as for the Māori people of this country, with all that fellow with the scribbles on and their cowboy hat on.
Winston Peters has been put out to pasture. The great worry, of course, is that he's going to jump the fence and get back in.
Waititi opted out of giving an interview because he didn't want to give Peters any energy. Luxon, though, has the energy to continue to resist ruling out giving Peters any power.
I'm not getting into any post-election night coalition.
Who would be your Deputy Prime Minister?
What I'm saying to you is I am focused as leader of the National Party on delivering for the New Zealand people.
A lot of those New Zealand people want him to. In our latest Newshub-Reid research poll, we asked, should Luxon rule out forming a government with Peters? 43% said yes. Nearly 37% said no, don't do it.
I don't personally think he should rule him out.
Oh, Winston, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a bit of a devil, really. I don't like him. I think he's equivalent to Donald Trump.
In looking at his own base, National supporters, there was even stronger support to rule Peters out. 46% said yes and 37% said no.
Does that change your mind?
Again, he's not in Parliament, not above the thresholds, and hasn't been a thought for me.
Well, Christopher Luxon is brimming with confidence as he's out and about. Confidence could be the only thing he gets from one of his potential governing partners. Actors threatening a confidence, no supply government deal if Luxon doesn't share power.
I wouldn't call it a threat, it's just keeping the options open.
That would mean National has to come begging for support for every single policy.
Isn't that basically holding the country to ransom?
No, it's making sure that we get the best possible deal.
Do you think David Seymour's bluffing?
Well, what I'm saying to you is that David Seymour and I have a good relationship.
Friends with the potential to become frenemies. Amelia Wade, Newshub.
Well, a lot to take in there, Jenna. What could be Labour's miracle moment?
There's no one to do a Hail Mary pass to this time around. All they can do is dig in. Labour is going to have to go negative, dial up the fear factor around the stuff that David Seymour is talking about there because its positive policies aren't working. Seymour's latest tantrum gives them the ammo to do that. He's been under pressure over conspiracy candidates, over that joke about blowing up a ministry. Now he's threatening to blow up a governing arrangement. Confidence but no supply hasn't really been tested in New Zealand, but let's be clear, if David Seymour doesn't give the National Party the numbers to pass a budget, that's over. Walk on up to Governor-General and hand in your resignation. That's how serious it is. They've been flinging the chaos label at the left. What is more chaotic than that?
Jenna, tēnā koe.